Hello, book friends. Welcome back, or just welcome if you are new here. My name is Lou, and this is Literaturely Lou, where we talk about fantasy and sci fi books. Also, we have finally broken 200 followers on this account. Yay! I know that is still a small following, but a win is a win is a win. So thank you to all of you who have followed me from my old TikTok account onto this platform. And thank you to those who found me organically here and deemed my channel to be worth your time. I am grateful and I hope that this channel continues to thrive. And today we have an arc to review. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I have to say that this was weird, right? Because I tried to get the ebook from NetGalley. I ended up getting the audiobook from Macmillan Audio. I then did get the ebook from Tor Publishing. And then just to keep the good times rolling, I got a physical copy from a mutual on Book Talk. So let's talk about The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. This book is not released yet. It's set to release next month. I believe it was February 26th. If that is not correct, I will put it up on the screen somewhere. I'll put it up on the screen regardless. I, however, got the arcs plural in December, and that was the perfect time to get this book because it's definitely a winter read. With that being said, I'm not saying that I think you need to wait till next winter to read the book. Just that receiving this book in the thick of winter really set the tone. And the synopsis, put simplistically, is about a group of individuals on the first ever hunt for a werewolf. The main character here is a man named Sebastian, who is something of a mythical being himself, although the details of his identity remain vague, even to him. He doesn't even really know what he is. What we do know is that he has lived a very long time, and there is a creature referred to as the Ancient One that lives inside his head. Now, trying to streamline this so I don't lose you, the story follows multiple timelines, and one of those timelines is the original Hunt of the Beast, where a lot of people were killed, titling this event as the Red Winter. Then we have our present timeline where the beast was actually not slaughtered, and the son of one of the huntsmen seeks out Sebastian to finish what he started. Plot twist, well, it's not really a plot twist. The son's father is actually Sebastian's ex lover, and that becomes a pretty big piece to the story. So, as we're going back and forth between the timelines, there's a retelling of this romantic affair as well as a recount of the events surrounding the hunt. The interesting part here is that the werewolf is such a minor player in the council of fantastical beings that we get in this story. Of course, we have Samudel, and that's the Ancient One that lives within Sebastian's head, but then we also have a succubus named Livia, a swamp creature whose name I can't remember. We have Clowneck, who's a fiend for gold. Then we have a character named Astamit, and we know that he's the beast we're hunting, but it's never clearly stated that he's the werewolf, and I'm debating if the werewolf is actually a different character. I would find that really interesting due to its prose and just the way the author chose to write the story. There's a lot of guessing, but I actually love that. I thought it was great. Apologies, I had to close the blind because the light was starting to attack me a little bit. Anyway, shifting gears a bit, I want to talk about the comp titles. The book itself has Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Babel, and The Historian. And I think the common thread there is the historical fantasy element, which is spot on. Another reviewer compared it to Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman, another historical fantasy. But I feel like none of these books speak to the tone of The Red Winter. Well, I haven't read all of these titles, but the ones that I have read. So I want to make an addition with The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I have read The Invisible Life. I have read Between Two Fires, and those titles feel very serious, where this book does not. That slapstick, clumsy comedy that you find between the characters in The Devils, you kind of see something similar with these characters in this book as well. And it kind of cuts some of that seriousness. Also, if we think about Volga and her insatiable sexual desire, that's kind of everyone in this book. Which brings me to my next point. I hesitate to say that this book is hypersexualized because there's such a negative connotation around those words, but I don't know another way to put it. We have the main character revisiting memories of his past love, so of course I expected a lot of intimacy to be mentioned in reference to them. Also, we have Livia, who's a succubus, which that's her whole thing, so expected that. But then we had characters where I didn't expect there to be anything. For example, Samudel and Sebastian sometimes seek sexual intimacy with each other for comfort. Honestly, interesting concept, which nothing wrong with that, but it did throw me off because when I started to see the repeated behavior between characters I didn't expect that from, I started to question if there was more to it. Like, why are all the characters seeking that physical intimacy with each other? What was the relevance? Was there like some metaphorical meaning behind it? And it was probably nothing, but as a reader, I do question those kinds of things. Like, if I see a pattern, I wonder if it's supposed to be telling me something about the character or the environment. And the answer could simply be no to all of the above. Take that as you will. So, as I mentioned, I got the audiobook and I got the ebook and I got the physical book. And I personally like to do books in tandem with the audio and the physical, though I know it's not necessary. However, when it comes to this book, I highly recommend they be done in tandem. This story takes place right before the French Revolution. And I don't know about some of you guys, but for me, certain languages just don't translate well in my mind. French being one of them, it is not spelled the way that it sounds. And I personally struggle with it. So the audiobook was really helpful to get the pronunciation of some of the names. And honestly, just in general, the audiobook was great. You get two different narrators. There are addendums in the book that are done in Livia's POV, and there is a female narrator to do her part and a male narrator to do the rest. However, apart from the addendums, the book also has footnotes, and I just always prefer the physical book if a book is going to have footnotes. So I just feel like you benefit as the reader doing this book in tandem. I think it gives the best experience. Anyway, so in addition to finding the release date and putting it just somewhere on this video, I am also going to find out if it is in fact a first book to a series. It reads like it is, but I don't want to give false information. If it is, I think it's a strong first book, slower paced, like you would expect with a historical fantasy, distinct characters that make for very interesting dialogue. Yeah, I think readers are definitely going to like this book. I definitely think it is worth your time. But as always, please leave your comments down below. Remember, of course, to do all the things like, share, subscribe. Again, thank you to all those who have already subscribed, and I will catch you in the next one.